Good morning, Marsha.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for letting me come out and interview you today. But, so you just give a little backstory as to what you have done. As I mentioned, you've done renovations and tree removal, but I know I'm probably missing a couple things in there.
Well, we have owned our house for just coming up 7 years. We moved in September and moved here from Western Canada. So when we did move here, we had no lawn equipment, nothing. Everything was in a big tractor trailer. And so the first thing I did, because it was still September, I had discovered a lawn cutting service and had hired them to deal with the balance of the first fall. And then that's when we started kind of a plan to improve our living space. We live outdoors a lot, and so we found that there were some trees that were encroaching on the house. There were trees, 2 apple trees that were not maintained for about 4 or 5 years by the previous owners, and it was best for those to go, and they were taken out in, I guess, 2013. We did re-engage the landscaping service at that time, and had the landscaper provide treatment, not just cutting the grass, but treatment at that time. And it turned out that it wasn't as efficient as what we had looked at and wanted. We did have quite a bit of crabgrass, and it was just unsightly. So after the second year being here, I took over the lawn cutting, and that would have been in 2014. We had talked to LawnRx at that time, and just needed to really get a handle on improving my grass, because I do have pride in my home. We've spent a lot of money to live here, and it's a beautiful area, so I like the flowers, I like the trees, and like I said, we spend a lot of time out in our backyard area. We've expanded the patio and made it almost 3 seasons. Being from Canada, the winter isn't a problem. We cook and barbecue all year round, and so the more time that we can spend out here, the better. And I really do enjoy it. So we really have taken to heart the recommendations that LawnRx gave us. We cut our lawn high so it doesn't get burned out. Even though it is wet and you don't actually have to water your grass here, it still gets times where there is what seems like a mini drought of a couple of weeks in July and August, where there is no rain, and I would prefer to have a green grass as opposed to a brown grass. With our expansion of our patio and also having now dogs in our lives, we've had a few challenges of digging and holes and having to redo some of the patches, and it's just a matter of time. One of the things that when we first talked to LawnRx is there is no instant miracle magic wand. Your grass in your yard are living things, and it takes time to repair long-term damage. And so we really have followed the program. I like the way my yard looks, and even though there is no contest for best looking yard,
That's true.
I do want to have a yard that is nice, and I like it, and it eventually, if and when we ever decide to move, it increases the selling value of our home, not just kitchens and bathrooms, but having a pleasing backyard. And so that is pretty well where we have come to after 4 seasons. Highly recommend it, and can keep on learning about how to maintain my yard.
How did you end up coming to our company? How did you hear about our service?
I saw your guys in the neighborhood.
And did you happen to stop them, or did you just
Our neighbor across the street had some services done, but I also knew of the franchise, and so it was a name that I already knew, and I would rather deal with companies that I am aware of as opposed to ABC and Al's #1 lawn service. So there is a reputation that comes with a name, and so LawnRx was a reputable name that I already knew. And
well, we pride ourselves out. We're not a franchise, though.
No?
We are just Bruce and Tom own the company, and they built it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there must be something, because there was a company similar up in Canada that did the same thing, but it was a franchise company, and I stand or sit corrected.
That's okay. Yeah, honestly, we get that question a lot, because there are other companies with very similar names. There's a Lawn Doctor, and that could be why, because we're LawnRx.
Yes.
So from the time we treated, and I remember between you and me, we were going back and forth about the mapping and where the property boundaries were and things along the nature of being removed and added. How do you think it looks from that point? And I never seen your property in person at that point. How bad did it look? How did the grass look?
There were a lot, like I said, we've done a lot of changes. We've removed garden beds that just weren't doing well on the east side of the house because they were just getting baked. And so the biggest thing was the crabgrass on the east side of the hill.
And when you say east side,
that would be the downhill.
All right, everyone, we're going to go over this way. East side is that way.
Yeah, the east is over there. So the house is on the north, and it's lovely because we have this big, huge southern exposure backyard. And so knowing that the only shade that comes is from the big trees, either mine or my neighbor's, it's the crabgrass was there. There was lots of little tiny chickweed was one of the big things that drove me nuts for the first while, and then whole bunches of other little weeds. And the biggest thing is that my direct neighbors don't treat their yards, and so you can actually in the springtime see the visible difference between where the clover ends and where the grass starts or other weeds. And so it was frustrating, and I'd like to say that my neighbor that way has started to treat his yard, but not with LawnRx.
Well, and that's okay, because looking at the lawns, and now this is summertime.
Yes.
Last year we had continual rain, and where most lawns go into some sort of drought, or whereas the cool season grasses go dormant, grasses didn't do that last year, and mowing companies mowed every day, 5 days a week, which normally during the summertime they have to cut back a little bit. So all of that rain last year, plus what we've seen this year, considering your lawn looks amazing, and whereas your neighbors may have a little bit here, a little bit there, weeds or brown spots, so far I see no clover, which is springing up all over the place.
The clover is all down there.
Down the hill.
Down at the bottom of the hill. They mowed just on the weekend, and they mow really short, and they don't bag. They just side discharge. And hello. Yes, the dogs.
The dogs. So everyone, just to give you an idea, with 2 dogs, you know that there's going to be some sort of residual damage from the ammonia and then anything else in their urine. Now, that being said, you can always fight that with doing a little bit of liming, but they're dogs. Your lawn's not always going to look perfect when you have animals.
No, and we try to do a little preventative maintenance. Blueberries.
Antioxidants.
Yes, that and they love blueberries.
Who doesn't?
So every morning they get a little handful of blueberries, and that seems to help, but then they do have certain spots that they like, and the cicadas.
One of my favorite sounds ever.
Yes, well, we don't have them in Western Canada.
Oh, well.
So when we first moved here, it's like, what are those?
I grew up with that sound most of my childhood, and not up here actually, but I love that sound.
Yes, that's when I know summer is here, the cicadas are playing. But yeah, Bella and Bo, they have beaten up my lawn a little bit, but it does recover, and it's just a matter of, it's an ongoing maintenance. It grows, and it comes and it goes, and it's one of the things, warts and all, you have your dogs, and she will try and catch anything. And
so everyone, just to give you a video imagery, we're going to show you a little bit of Marsha's lawn here. Now, she does have some disease. A lot of people are seeing that this year. It is weather related. You can do a fungicide on a disease, however, it will stop it from spreading. It's not going to stop it from coming back if the weather conditions don't improve. Aside from that, Marsha has some nut sedge. She has a little bit of dog damage, nothing I can, concretely see as a huge problem. Issues around the tree, which Marsha is aware of and plans on taking care of, but otherwise, this lawn is gorgeous. But it's taken 3 full seasons, and this is the 4th season that they are in, of constantly doing something with the lawn, whether it be a soil sample, a lime, aerating, overseeding, feeding it, just with the timely applications. It takes work. And sometimes, you want things to look amazing, such as this, but it's not going to look this amazing if you don't take the recommendations of your technicians. But this is truly beautiful, Marsha, and I have to tell you, we as a company thank you for taking the recommendations, because you make us look good. It's, we can make the recommendations, but if you don't take them to heart and listen to them, your lawn's not going to necessarily look so great, and you're going to be like, well, what's wrong? Why is my company doing this?
Yeah. Well, it's no different than going to your doctor and they say lose weight and quit smoking and quit drinking. If you don't do that, you're not going to get healthy.
Exactly. And that is I use humans as a good reference when talking about lawns. Your soil is like your blood work. No 2 lawns are the same. Everybody does something a little bit different, and I have to say, so far, you guys are doing everything right. So thank you, Marsha, for taking the time out of your day to let me come and interview you and take photos, because it's beautiful.
Thank you.
And I don't want to go back to work today.